Hello, and welcome to Die Zeitung podcast. Today we're talking about funny mistakes we've made while learning the German language, speaking to Germans, or going abroad. My name is Meredith Lemke, and my friends here are going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Daisy. I'm the head editor for the German newspaper.
Hey, it's Matthew. I'm the English editor for the German newspaper.
Justin here, German editor.
And I'm Ephraim, I'm the online editor.
And I am also a German editor. I'm Meredith. So if we'd like to get started, does anybody have a fun anecdote from a mistake they made while learning German or abroad?
So I can start. This was not one of my better moments, but I was at a journal shop and I love sparkling water, which actually took me some time to get accustomed to it. At first I thought it was really gross, but once I was in Germany after a few months, I was always ordering sparkling water. So I go up to the counter at the journal shop and I say that I want some Sprudelwasser, and the actual word is Sprudelwasser. It's still hard for me to say, like that R is hard to do, but Sprudelwasser means dishwater, like dirty dishwater. So he was like, "Was?" Like he was so confused what I wanted, and it was pretty embarrassing, but we figured it out pretty quickly. I did not want dirty dishwater.
Yeah, the sparkling water of Germany really just caught me by surprise. And when I was there in Germany, I never had enough time to get used to it. So sometimes it was the only thing available at like a restaurant or something like that. So all our friends would sit around together and like psychologically get ourselves in the mode. This is Sprite. This is Sprite. This is Sprite. Then we'd all drink it at once and get it down. So that was my experience with sparkling water in Germany.
That's great. Does anybody else have any anecdotes from when they were abroad or anything?
Yeah, I just remember from when you're abroad, first, it feels cool to be like, this is a language I sort of know. This is real people are using it outside of the classroom. But at the same time, the pressure is on. And when I was in Germany, I stayed with a Turkish German family that spoke fluent German, but they did not speak any English. So that led to frequent miscommunications. For example, we were about to go out and do some touring event. I can't remember exactly what. And I believe my German host father was asking me, do you want to go to the bathroom? He said something like Badezimmer, but I misheard him and thought he was saying take a bath. So I said, I'd like to take a shower, which is Dusche. And then he looked at me and said, you want to take a shower? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, be quick. So I don't think that was what was anticipated, but that's how it ended up going.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be kind of tricky. My host family in Germany also didn't really speak much English. So I didn't have a ton of like embarrassing grammar mistakes, but there were a lot of moments where we just couldn't figure out what the other one wanted at all.
Yep, that happened to me too. There was one time where I was feeling like really confident. Our dinner time conversation had been going great. I wanted to teach them like an idiomatic expression, and that's where they just sort of had blank stares and were like, "Was?" So I tried to say it again, and they said, "Was?" And after a third time, I just had to give up.
Oh.
Yeah, I had the same thing too. This guy started talking to me in a grocery store, and I think he was trying to be friendly, make conversation, but I don't know what I said, but I said something about carrots because it was like the first thing that came to mind, and I was buying carrots, but it was just weird, and I honestly have no idea what I said. He just made a weird face and we stopped talking, but that wasn't my greatest interaction in Germany either.
Yeah, that can be embarrassing when that happens. I had a few embarrassing moments in school. I went to a gymnasium when I was abroad. One like little one was I was in my music class, and this was like the second day or the first day I was at this school, and my teacher said, "Wenn Sie Fragen haben, melden Sie sich bitte." And that means like if you have a question, raise your hand. And I turned to my friend and said, "Was heißt melden?" Because I didn't know what the verb melden meant. So instead of raising my hand and asking her what she meant, I just turned to my friend and went, "What does that mean?" And the class laughed at me, but then taught me that word.
Yeah, that's a great way to learn embarrassment.
Yeah, I had a much more embarrassing one in front of a teacher though. So for context, I had some friends and it was December and we were going to have a Christmas party. And white elephant in Germany is called Wichteln, like white elephant gifts, when you each bring something for like a secret person and you don't tell them like that you're the person that got their name. And that's called Wichteln. And I'd never heard that word before, so it was very new. And so like a day later, I was in my history class with a friend and I sat in the front row. And I turned to her and I went, werden wir bei der Party wichsen? Because I couldn't remember the word. And wichsen means to jerk off. So I, in front of my teacher, asked her, "Are we going to jerk off at the party?" And she busted out laughing. And the whole class like had heard and were laughing, and she was laughing so hard that she didn't explain to me. So my teacher came up to me and explained what I had said. I was pretty lucky that this was not one of my older teachers. She was probably like 25, so it was a little less embarrassing than it could have been with like my 60-year-old German man teacher. But yeah, I didn't live that one down for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think something kind of similarly embarrassing was in high school. I think this was in German 4 or 5. My teacher's like in his 60s. A student next to me was talking about something and they said like der Schwanz and like the context of a tail. But the context that they said it was like really weird, so it sounded like the other meaning of it. And so I was just like, I just said, explained it in German. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And my German teacher looked at me and was like, Tristan, oh, so that's how you're learning German so well. I know what you're looking at. I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm so sorry. I just was so confused by the context. I don't think the other student knew what they were talking about. And that was one of the most embarrassing moments in class.
I will say, I think when you're okay with being embarrassed in regards to a language, it gets so much easier to practice and learn it. Like once you get over that hump, it's just so much better. And just laughing at yourself is great.
Oh yeah, 100%. We had on my German exchange, I was with a group of the mostly younger kids who'd only taken like a few years of German, and the biggest challenge was always ordering at restaurants. That was when you were like engaging in battle mode. And even after like months after the German exchange, every time I'd go into a restaurant, I'd gear up like my German vocabulary mentally, and like the anxiety would rise. And I was one of those who was willing to just guess, and nothing specific comes to mind, but say a lot of wrong things in front of waiters and waitresses. And because of that, people would have other people order for them. And even sometimes they'll say like, I'll pay for half your meal if you'll just order for me. That's how much the anxiety got to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think also just when learning, like being able to take like criticism, it's not criticism normally, it's just like a little correction is so important. Because I know for me, I did this governor's school when I was first learning German a few years ago. And I remember I said, ich bin bequem, which I thought meant I'm comfortable, but it meant I'm comfortable to sit on. Like if you sat on me like I was a chair, I would be comfortable for you. You have to say mir ist bequem, like it is comfortable here to me. And that's the same thing with like ich bin heiß is a mistake a lot of people make when you start learning German. Like I am hot. If you say that, it means I am horny, and you have to say it is hot to me. So mir ist heiß. So I remember when I was first learning, I didn't want to like stop saying it because I didn't understand the context. But if you just like, if you accept those little like notes, it goes so much faster. Okay, so thank you so much for your stories, and thank you to all of you for listening. We are excited to have this podcast and to share our anecdotes with you and these little looks into what learning German can be like, how funny and embarrassing it can be, but how great that is and the stories it makes. So thank you so much for listening, and we hope that you got a kick out of our mistakes.
Tschüss.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen.